Good evening everyone, Nicholas Devine, Assistant Professional out here at Lake Canon Country Club, and today I have another club preview for you, not club review, club preview. And today I have the Cobra F8 and F8 Plus drivers. We're out here on the magnificent third hole at Lake Canon Country Club, and we're going to have a chat about these two clubs which are due to hit the market in February next year. So hang out for this video and I'll show you what they're all about. So, let's have a look at these drivers. Now, straight away, I'm going to say it's almost like a love child of a Ping G400 and a TaylorMade M1 or M2 driver. When you put these down, it carries a lot of characteristics of those two clubs. So you ask yourself, what the hell is he talking about? Well, straight away, let's just look at the top of the club first of all. The crown. You can see on here, Cobra calls it the 360 aero package, but it's very similar to what Ping did with the G30 and G400 with the turbulators, except Cobra's taken it to the next level and they've actually put it on the sole of the club as well. So what that does initially is to create less drag for the golf club, so the club head speeds a lot quicker and your ball goes further. So it's not something new to the market, it is something that we have seen before, but what is new is the turbulators on the bottom of the club. We haven't seen that before in any driver. Now when you look at the crown, carbon fiber with a mix of titanium, so a multi-material crown, but really when you now look at the picture and you put this down on the ground, it does look very much similar to a TaylorMade M1 or M2 driver. The only difference is you can see the TaylorMade has a little bit of a square shape towards the center of the club. This makes a triangle towards the center point, which is pretty good if you ask me, because it actually makes you concentrate on the center of the club. But you can see there how it carries a lot of characteristics similar to that of a TaylorMade M1 or M2. The other big difference is in this F8 series is that it's grey and the TaylorMade's white, of course. So now we move on to the bottom of the club, and there is a lot of technology in this club, and just so you know, I can't really hit too many shots with either of these two drivers simply because this is what they call the first cut. So these aren't actually the drivers that you'll actually be hitting come February next year. These two drivers are for me to show you, so you get an idea of what's coming come February. So I will be doing another review in February which will be showing all the ball data. I'm still going to hit a couple of shots with these, but it's not going to be representative of what's actually coming out come February. Now anyway, let's go to the sole here. So you've got two models, so the F8 and the F8 Plus. F8 straight away is 460cc, F8 Plus is 440cc. So this F8 Plus is more of a penetrating ball flight, so for your slightly better player. F8's more for your player who's looking for a little bit of help and a little bit of draw bias. And what I say with that is, when you look at the F8 sole, you've got two weight patterns. You've got one towards the heel and one at the back, so you can switch those around to put the heavier weight in the heel to help get a bit more of a draw shape. Whereas when you're looking at the F8 Plus, you've got two places where you can adjust the weight, either the front or the back. So if you want something that's a little bit more penetrating, you put it at the front. If you want something that's a little bit more forgiving, then you put the weight at the back. So you can change the CG location in both of these drivers to get a different ball flight. Now smart pad on the bottom means no matter how you adjust the hosel, now you can see image coming up now, you've got the MyFly loft system where you can actually change up to 8 degrees of different loft in this with a draw bias or a standard loft. But with the smart pad, the way that the club sits, it always sits nice and square on the floor. Now here's the big one, here's the game changer, and something that we've never ever seen before in a driver, and that's the CNC milled face. Now the CNC milled face you've never seen in a driver, usually seeing a brush polish finish in a driver. But what they're saying is with a CNC milled face is that you're going to get a more precise strike anywhere across the face. So it's even thinner and it's even hotter than any other driver out there, but it's also because of the precision milled, for miss hits, it's going to work a lot better. Now you've got that in the F8 and you've also got that in the F8 Plus. So there's a lot of technology in both these heads, and Cobra think they've got the most forgiving head out there on the market, and it'll be interesting come February to put this up against the Ping G400, which I personally think is the most forgiving driver out there on the market. The other good thing about this milled face is, and for me it's a focal point. There's a round disc in the middle which becomes a focal point for hitting the ball out of the middle, but when you actually do make contact with the ball, and you can see the images coming up there, it leaves an imprint pattern on the face, so it gives you a really good idea of where you're actually connecting with it on the face, and I reckon that's a really cool feature with this driver. You don't see that too often with the brush polish finish, but with this milled finish you're actually going to get a good idea of where you've struck that golf ball on that club face. Anyway, moving on, Ardilla NV shafts. I haven't seen Ardilla NV shafts in a driver for quite some time, but we have been selling NV shafts in the pro shop over the past 6-7 years, but I haven't actually seen a company release an NV shaft with their driver. So it's pretty good to see an NV shaft. Now I've got two NV shafts, an NV blue, which is a 60 reg, and an NV green, which is a 65 stiff. So welcome back to the game, NV or Ardilla. I haven't seen the NV shaft in quite a while, and I know it's a good shaft because it's a shaft that I fit in quite a fair few drivers when customers are looking for another shaft to put in their driver. Right, now I'm going to hit both of them quickly just to tell you how I think it feels and how it sounds. You'll see some ball data come up on the screen, but like I said, please take no notice of it simply because of the fact that the ball data is going to be wrong. I did get told that these are going to spin a little bit more than what the actual real models will. Now, something I also found out was in Australia we're only going to get this grey model, or there is a name for it. Left my mind right now, but there's a grey and carbon fibre. The F8 Plus, you can see here as the image comes up on the screen, is a black model. Apparently the F8 Plus is only going to come in the grey model in Australia, which I find really unfortunate because I do prefer the look of the black head. So hopefully Cobra Australia, you can see this and you bring this black model into Australia, because I do think, and that's only my personal opinion, I do think it looks a lot better. Now, as you know, the F8 Plus is only 440 and the F8 is 460, so the 460cc is slightly deeper in the head, so the CG location is further back, so it gets it up into the air, whereas the F8 Plus CG location is a little bit further forward, and like I said, you can really shift the weight to the front of it to get a real penetrating ball flight if you want. But then also just understand with that, when you put the weight at the front, you're going to bring in a little bit of inconsistencies with your ball strike if you're not catching it so sweet. Anyway, I'm going to hit the F8 first with a stiff green shaft. We'll see how it goes, and then I'll swap the shafts over because I don't want to be hitting a reg, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm expecting a little bit of a draw shape to come with that. Now I've set them both to 9 degrees of loft, so you can get a fairly consistent thing. But like I said, ball data doesn't really matter. It's more of a case of just seeing how it feels, what it looks like, and how it sounds. Anyway, let's go, let's have a crack. F8 first. Now, just speaking on technology, one thing I did forget to mention was the Cobra Connect feature in the top of the F8 driver. Now, you probably saw that in the Cobra F7 series. Now, Cobra Connect is all about making golf fun and tracking your ball data when you're out in the golf club. Now, on the golf course, but we saw that in the F7 series, but only in the driver. Now, when you come into the F8 series, you're going to see it in the whole F8 series of clubs. Drivers, fairway woods, hybrids and irons. So now you're going to be able to map your game the whole way around the golf course and see how far you're hitting each individual club. Is it very accurate? It is fairly close, and Arcos and Cobra have done a really amazing job with this. So it's a device there where you put a phone in your pocket, and then it makes a whooshing sound past your pocket, and that's how it tracks the data. Like I said, how accurate, I don't know, but it's a pretty cool feature, and it makes this driver extremely smart. And it's got smart written on the bottom of it too. But anyway, that's the Cobra Connect feature of this club, powered by Arcos. A really cool feature in the F8 series of golf clubs. Now, as per usual, I do use a SkyTrack to carry all the ball data, but like I said, please take no notice of it because I'm expecting these to spin a little bit more than what they should. Now, nice big head. I do love the look of this. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good. And that's a very, very high ball flight. Almost looked like it came down with snow on it. But like I said, spin numbers are going to be up a little bit, as you can see, and because the CG location's a little bit back, there was a nice draw shape on that, but you can see that it's flown very high. So anyway, I'll hit one more with this. Now if you can see on the screen now, I'm going to show you the imprint patterns the face is making, just so you can see what I mean by what I said earlier about seeing where the ball is actually striking on the face. So I've got a few marks on this face, as you can see, because I've been hitting quite a fair few shots, just seeing how it feels. Sounds amazing, looks amazing. Like I said, I prefer the black look, but an amazing driver. It feels really cool off the face, and that milled finish on the face does actually give you a sense of wherever I hit it on the face, I'm actually getting quite a decent shot out of the driver. Anyway, I'll hit one more with the F8, and then I'll switch to the F8 Plus. But yes, a very, very high ball flight with this. But not too bad. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to the F8 Plus. Give me a sec, I'm just going to switch the shaft over and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so back with the F8 Plus head. And like I said, this is a black head, and to me, as you can see from the image on the screen now, for me personally, a much better looking head than the grey. And a slightly smaller head, so I prefer the look of this in comparison to the F8. And like I said, pay no attention to the ball data because it's probably not going to be right. So I'll have a couple of quick hits with this. Yeah, straight away a much more penetrating ball flight, and I've set the heavier weight to the front of the face just to get that sort of sensation or that sort of feel. But again, that CNC mill face feels amazing, and this sounds really good as well. But again, like I said, I really do prefer this head to the other one, slightly more compact, and I prefer a 440cc to a 460. Okay, so that one went slightly right. So there you can see where the F8 is slightly a little bit more forgiving than the F8 Plus, because I didn't miss too many shots with the F8, and that one there I've just pushed out to the right. Alright, one more. Oh, that's just come out like an absolute nut. And that was the longest one of the lot. Anyway, not much to say about ball data, but a sexy looking head, and probably the best looking head I've seen from Cobra. I do think it's too close in similarity to the TaylorMade, but I do love the F8 Plus black head in comparison to the F8 grey head. So I'm hoping to God in Australia they're going to bring out this black head. Anyway, hopefully in February sometime next year you'll be able to hit these woods. And like I said, I will post another review closer to February with the actual ball data of this driver, and then I'll actually put it up against the other big 4 or big 5 out there on the market at that point in time, and we'll see how it stacks up. And like I said, Cobra is saying it's their most forgiving driver. It'd be very interesting to see how it goes up against the Ping G400 to me, which I think personally is the most forgiving driver out there on the market at this point in time. Anyway, make sure you like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on ND Golf.